going on, everyone? After what I feel like has been like an age-long, year-long hiatus, it kind of feels like, but it's only been a couple of weeks. We are back. I had to move, as you could even see behind me. Just you could see new scenery in the background. New office, new house, all that good stuff. But we are back, and it's good to be back. And right at the right time, week of love in the Texas high school football season. Lots of games gonna decide a lot of things. Who's gonna make the playoffs? What seed you're gonna go to? All these things are important. Just because you've locked up a playoff spot doesn't mean the deal is done. Because hey, if you can get out to the 2 seed, or if you can avoid being like the 4 seed, those are all good things to consider. So just because you got a playoff seed doesn't mean locked in doesn't mean things are done. Before we do all that, Shayna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Trick-or-treaters came and went, and then I immediately took all my Halloween decorations down and put up Christmas because it makes me happy. And why not spend the next 2 months happy, right? But I'm doing great. Ready to see what this week has to go with high school football across the state, but especially in my area.
Yeah, and here you go. I'll show you another look at my new setup. Got my Zelda stuff behind me, with some Funkos there. So it is all good. And like you said, it's interesting. You skip Thanksgiving. No Thanksgiving decorations. Straight to Christmas. Although I guess in the way those things can kind of intermingle. So we're hopefully hosting Thanksgiving here. That's the plan. So that should be a fun time. New house, a little closer, so everyone's going to come on down, which is nice. But let's talk about Texas high school football. As we said, it is week 11, and things are heating up. I don't even know if we need to really talk about any of the games last week because really at this point, all that really matters is the games this week. What's going to happen this week is going to determine a lot of things playoff wise. So Shayna, just kind of initial thoughts. It's something interesting too that's kind of been pointed out because of all the severe weather, especially in your area. Shayna is like almost half the games have been moved. If I'm not mistaken, have been moved to Thursday or some crazy number like that. There's a crazy amount of games that are being moved to Thursday to avoid that weather, and now you're kind of dealing with official shortages and stuff like that. So lots of crazy drama last week of the Texas high school football season. But let's talk about your area. I got a lot of just kind of I'm gonna do a run through some of these districts here and some of these regions here in a minute. But just your initial thoughts in the Dallas area this week when it comes to Texas high school football.
You know, um, the weather has been crazy for one, absolutely. We saw a little bit of it last week, and I love how it's waited a whole week to get back to Friday and say, "Hey, we're gonna mess it up again." But my initial thoughts are looking at Keller Fossil Ridge. They need a huge victory over South Lake Carroll to really one, clinch playoffs, but make a statement. But then that could like rearrange the entire district for them because, as you know, VR Eaton's in their district, Trophy Club Byron Nelson is in their district. So Keller Fossil Ridge, they need this win, but VR Eaton needs them to lose to be able to get into the playoffs. They could clinch with a VR Eaton could clinch with a victory over Trophy Club Byron Nelson. Byron Nelson has been absolutely phenomenal this season, as we have seen, and they also would need Fossil Ridge to lose to South Lake Carroll to clinch a spot. So to me, this has been the biggest thing that I've been looking at because, Keller Fossil Ridge, VR Eaton, both are really good programs. Both have been good over the past couple of years. They've been rebuilding, they've been working on, um, you know, all of the mechanics that go into the game. So watching them this season has been great. And coming down to the wire for playoffs is something that I think is going to be the thing to watch in this area. Um, some small ones that I've been looking at is Irving MacArthur. They need a victory over Richardson Berkner, but not only do they need a victory, they need to win by 2 scores. That is, you know, something that they're going to have in their minds as they're playing, and that could be something that throws them off. Berkner, they've usually been good. They've been all right this season, but MacArthur really, really wants this. It's going to be interesting to see if they can pull it off with two scores. And then another one of the smaller ones I've been looking at is the winner of Lake Dallas versus Denton is going to clinch the final playoff spot for their district. And that's always something that I think you want to watch, because when it's the final berth, that game is going to come down to the wire. Lake Dallas is really, really good. Denton, they're really, really good. And they're kind of rivals in this area. They're so close to each other. A bridge separates them. So that's going to be another game to watch. And then I would say the biggest one, now if we're going to talk bigger ones in the area, Hebron. Hebron needs Plano to lose this week to clinch a playoff spot, but they also will need to beat Louisville. Louisville has been very, very good. Hebron has been vying for this moment all season. However, Plano, they need a huge win over Capel to clinch a playoff berth. So we're going to be watching these two games. And then the trickiest thing in that district is Flower Mound. If they beat Plano West and Hebron beats Plano, there would be a three-way tie for fourth in District 66A. In this scenario, I believe it would be Plano that would clinch the playoff berth per like their district's formula. But this is the biggest one in the area that I think people are focusing on to see how it plays out, because this one's a lot of win scenarios, because it would be that four-way tie that we're looking at. Three-way tie, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, things are crazy all across the state. I want to kind of run through, and I'll put you on the screen here, so in case you want to jump in on any of these. I mean, let's go through this region by region. I guess let's start in, you know what? I had region 4 popped up, but let's see if let me get to region 1. Let's go 1 through 4. That sounds a little better. I mean, you mentioned it with district 4-6A right there. I mean, Foster Ridge and VR Eaton. I mean, both of them are fighting for that playoff spot. But hey, guess what? You have to face the two toughest teams in that district to even get a chance for that 4 spot. So Fossil Ridge, they just need VR Eaton to lose. They're good. But what? And then I don't know the Timber Creek situation there. So, I mean, if all of them win, Timber Creek, who's Timber Creek plays? They play Keller Central, so that could be a three-way tie right there. Interesting things. And I think you talked about that already. But hey, when you need a win, it's not good when you play the top 2 teams in district right there. Another one in Region 1. This isn't so much of a hey, you got Berkner and Pierce right there going for that 4 spot, but Highland Park 7-0, undefeated, 9-0. What an impressive start to them for their 6A debut, if you will, and it's gonna be interesting to see what they do come playoff time. What kind of a run they can make this year. I'm pretty sure. You might have to correct me if I'm wrong, but would they go Division 2 here if they make the playoffs, Shana? Do you know their enrollment numbers there?
So I don't know their enrollment numbers, but I do think they would go Division 2. I agree with you. Their 6A debut has been phenomenal. You almost want to ask, like, is the old Highland Park back? They've shown their strength. They have done the work. They're back at it. And is this going to be another Highland Park that we saw with John Stephen Jones that just dominated the area? They moved up and they're just dominating. I don't want to jinx it. They are doing really great. And if they lose, I will take the blame, I suppose. But you almost have to wonder, is Highland Park back? Are they taking state this year?
It'd be interesting indeed. Moving on, let's go to Region 2. I'm in 5A, District 8, 5A, region, or 5A Division 1, I should say. You got Port Arthur Memorial, Kingland Park. They're battling it out. They got a game to decide first place in that district. So a winner takes first place. And then you got a kind of an interesting situation. You have Barbers Hill sitting at 5-2, Crosby and Porter at 4-3, and the Port at 4-4. I mean, bad thing for the Port is they've already played all their games. They got the not, I guess not random, but rare week 11 bye week. And so now they're kind of on the outside looking in, kind of maybe hoping Crosby and Porter lose. Crosby playing a 1-8 Goose Creek Memorial, Porter playing 6-3 Barbers Hill. So interesting things right there. Right now, Porter is on the outside looking in. They're going to need some help. Like I said, they play Barbers Hill, so if they get a win, that's good for them. And then, like I said, Crosby's playing Goose Creek Memorial. So need a little help. I don't know if Crosby. I don't think that one's going to matter. I think that kind of seems locked in. I think Crosby, they should win that game. So that one, but that in that district, it's the Port Arthur Memorial Kingwood Park who's taking that number one spot there. Some other ones. Let me. If you ever need to jump in, just jump in, Shayna. While I'm looking through some of these, Lovejoy and Melissa. In District 7-5A Division 2. They're playing for that district title right there. That's going to be a good game to see who gets that one seed for sure. Moving on down, and I know you're a little more familiar about those teams. That's kind of a Dallas area team. Another, you really don't think about it. You kind of think South Oak, now you think they're the favorites. South Oak Cliff has yet to lock up that division crown in District 6-5A Division 2. Wilson undefeated in district as well. So that one they're playing this week. So that's for the division crown. So that should be a good one. You usually think, oh, South Oak Cliff, they've already won the district. Nope, not yet. It's going to take till week 11 to do it. There's a lot of games going for district crowns this week, and they're all seem to be happening almost in the DFW area, right? District 5A Division 2, Midlothian Heritage, Everman, both 6-0 in district, going for that district crown this week. Other than that district's pretty much set up for the top four schools. Let's see. Willis in District 13 6A is on the outside looking in. They are 4-3. Conroe's 4-3. Willis is the 5 seed. Conroe's the 4 seed. Conroe has the win over Willis this week, and Conroe has a very winnable game against College Park. Willis has Oak Ridge, which is a very good team in their own right. So, but this is interesting. Their district records. Oh no, I got it right. So, so Oak Ridge. So there's something wrong there with Oak Ridge's record on Max Preps. So because they're sitting at 7-3 with 10 games, but they also have a game against Willis this week. So that's weird there on Max Preps. So, but Willis on the outside looking in on that one. Here's an interesting one in District 16 6A. You have Bridgeland, Cypress Falls, and Cypress Woods all at 4-2. So they are taking up the second through 4 spots. But then you have Langham Creek and Cypress Springs that are right behind them. So you could have I don't even know how to begin to talk about this one. Because if Cypress Springs wins, they'll have the same record as Bridgeland at 4-3. Then you have Cypress Falls and Cypress Woods, who you look at their records, who they're playing. Cypress Woods probably should win their game, so probably might, if things go south, they might that's going to be an interesting one. There could be a lot of drama in that district right there. Here we go. Here's another one for you, Shayna. In District 15 6A, Klein Kane, Klein Collins, Tomball, all 5-1. Now this is 1 through 3, so you're really looking for who's going to get that one spot. And Klein Kane, who they play. Klein Kane playing Tomball. So there you go. We could have eventual two-way tie for first, and then whoever won that game will take it. So, but still some drama there. Where else can we go? Let's go to Division 3. I know I'm just rambling now, but it's important to talk about these games because they are right here. It's the important kind of Week 11 games. Jasper and Silsbee, District 9, 4A Division 2, playing for that district crown. You have A&M Consolidated, College Station, and Georgetown, similar as one we just talked about, all 5-1, battling for that one seed in District 11, 5A Division 1. So that's an important district to look at right there heading into week 11. Let me keep on looking here through I have a bunch of different tabs open of all the districts here. Looking at, um, yeah, this is something funny, and I want to get your thoughts on this. We're going to take a little sidebar here just to give everyone a little refresher. LBJ won last week. I don't know if you heard about this, Shayna. LBJ won last week, and here's the final score for the people. They beat Eastside Early College 96-0. Shayna, did you hear about this?
I
So they
did.
won 96-0, and that was with like taking a knee basically the whole fourth quarter and most of the third quarter. Um, and I think LBJ had petitioned Austin ISD to remain in 4A and was denied. What do you think about this, Shayna? Let me get your thoughts on this. I mean, should UIL give some kind of credence to teams? Well, not credence is the right word, but some leeway to some of these teams, knowing that like this doesn't help LBJ, right? I mean, they're forcing themselves to play tough non-district opponents, which is good for them by doing that because they know. I mean, they're not have like for the next 5 or 6 weeks for the most part. Once they hit district, they're not going to get challenged. Here's their district scores right here. I'll give it to you. Give me 1 second. Um, Sorry if you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that. Max Preps does. So here's their district scores. They had a forfeit. Um, so there you go. That's a good way to start. 68-14, 89 nothing, 70 to nothing, 82 to nothing, 96 to nothing. I mean, Shane, just talk about this. I mean, UIL has to give some leeway to some of these schools in these situations, right? I mean, I know it's probably not common, but what are your thoughts on this?
I know it's all about numbers, and that's how they decide this. But you've gotta really consider and wonder. I would I would hope they would give some consideration to these schools and how the teams play, and we see this a lot in Allen. A lot of people here are questioning like why isn't Allen split into several schools rather than just Allen High School. Austin LBJ is phenomenal, and watching them blow out their opponents at game after game after game, um, it does start to make you wonder. Hey, UIL, do you not see this? And um, I, I would hope they give that leeway. I know it's hard because it all comes down to numbers and attendance and everything like that. Um, but I guess I'm at a loss for wondering how this works because you also see it in taps. A lot of teams moved up, and Dallas Christian has been dominating because that's what Dallas Christian does. And you have to sit here and wonder, is this not seen? Do people not not care? We see this. I saw this when I was in high school also with maybe it was Bernie. But I agree with you. I'm surprised that more consideration isn't taken into moments like this.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario indeed, and I know LBJ. I mean, I think they even tweeted the LBJ Sports Twitter account was not really happy about. I mean, obviously, who would be? Because at the end of the day, you're not really getting a lot of experience for your guys because you're not getting a challenge. So interesting, but just wanted to bring that up. District 10 5A, Division 2, Lake Creek and Brenham, another 5-0 versus 5-0 district opponent. And then you have Randall, Montgomery, and Huntsville all battling for those 3 through 4 spots. Randall and Huntsville play, so whoever wins that one will get in, and then Montgomery, they play Rudder, so I mean, if who's 0-5 in district, so you figure if they win, they're in, and then the winner of the Randall Huntsville game will get in there. Um, Let me keep on going through here. District 19 6A. I mean, this one's got some good stuff all over. You have You have Cinco Ranch and Tompkins battling for now. Of course, I guess you could say for two spot for bragging rights, right? Because at the end of the day, well, I don't know those numbers. I think actually those two might be battling for the one spot for Division One, because I think Katie's going to go D2 in this scenario. If I'm correct, I believe I got to look at those numbers, but I'm almost positive that Katie is going to go D2 regardless. I don't have the enrollment numbers with me, but then you have Jordan, Pato, and Morton Ranch all there going for basically that last spot. They're all at 4-3. Let's see, Jordan and Morton Ranch played each other, and Pato plays Tompkins. So you kind of have to figure, unless Tompkins is sitting people, that winner of the Jordan Morton Ranch game will end up making the playoffs. So I want to look at those numbers. I think Katie's locked in at D2, but again, I don't know those numbers for Pato, Morton Ranch, and Jordan. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. That one's anyone can make it. It seems like right there at this point. Moving on, still in Region 3, looking at some of these games here, seeing what we got. Nope, nothing there. Oh, I will say in our KPRC game of the week, Straight Jesuit is playing undefeated Shadow Creek. Shadow Creek undefeated, by the way. It's good for them. I think it's their third year in 6A now, or second year, something like that. No, third year in 6A. And so Straight Jesuit needs to beat Shadow Creek, and I think they need some help on top of that to make the playoffs. So their playoffs start on Friday right there. I'm going to keep on going here, still in Region 3. You have, District 21 6A, that's the North Shore District. You're going to have a battle for second place, Atascocita and Summer Creek. They play each other there. So, it's basically bragging rights, right? You say second place, but in this case, the top two enrollments go D1, the lower two enrollments go D2. So mainly for bragging rights. And then finally, let's move to Region 4. That's kind of my region, if you will. Game that I am most likely going to be at, or no, I am going to be at. I got to prove this morning. Hondo and Poteet going for that 2 spot. They're playing each other this Friday at Hondo. I will be there covering it on the VYPE SATX account, as well as photography, videography. You know me, I do it all. So, but that game will be for the 2 spot. And then I think the loser automatically gets locked in a 3 spot. Jordanton has locked in the district crown because they beat both teams. So even if Jordanton somehow loses, they have the tiebreaker, so they are locked in there. Keep on going here. We got District 13 4A. You got Davenport and Lampasas battling for that 2 spot, but Davenport has the tiebreaker there. Let's talk about. Let me get to it here. Oh, here we go. Big time game, Shana. District 15 4A, Pleasanton and Beeville. That's a game to watch. I think it's one of our pick'ems. I made it, obviously intentional. That game will pretty much, I think, decide who's going to be the 2 seed and who's going to be the 4 seed, because Calhoun plays Floresville. So Floresville could potentially sneak in. Maybe actually. Let's see. How did y'all do against Floresville? Did Beeville beat Floresville? They did. So Floresville's kind of on the outside looking in there. But I think you're going for the 2 seed there with Pleasanton and Beeville Jones, and like I said, the loser could end up potentially being the 4 seed if Calhoun wins. So because you're sitting there at 2 and 3, and you don't want to be the 4 seed right there because. I'm pretty sure you might get Bernie in that case. Maybe I don't know the brackets yet, but odds are you could be getting Bernie in that first round, and you don't want to get Bernie in the first round. That's for that. Probably the best 4A team in that area. Whole bunch of mess in 13 5A Division 2. You got 3 teams sitting at 3 and 2, and another sitting at 2 and 3. Although I don't foresee Piper, the 2 and 3 team, winning. So you got, I think it's, Lockhart and Tybee are playing. So that's going to be probably, again, like the same thing we just talked about. Whoever wins probably locks in the 2 seed. Whoever loses probably gets the 4 seed. So don't want that. Uh, Still looking here. You got in 25 6A Division 4. You have basically Vista Ridge, Cedar Ridge, Manor, kind of all battling for that kind of 4 spot, 3 and 4 spot. Vista Ridge does play Vandergrift, so you're like, oh, good, that's a good loss. But I think Manor's on the outside looking in. I think Manor is going to need Cedar Ridge to lose, and Cedar Ridge plays McNeil. Probably not going to happen. So Manor on the outside looking in there. Um, let's see. Another good game are coming up. District 27, 6A, San Marcos and East Central. Winner gets in, loser goes home is basically where it's at. Clemens can get in the playoffs, but they would need to beat Steele, which I don't think is going to happen unless something crazy happens. I mean, Steele's 4-0, 9-0 on the season. So basically, San Marcos versus East Central, winner take all playoff spot right there. And I think that is going to be. I think that's going to do it. I mean, there's some other games out there, of course. There are some basically winner go home games already out there. There's a few that there's no extra no extra like, hey, this could happen where there's a three-way tie. There's a few games out there where hey, if you don't win, you go home. End of story. Nothing can help you. So lots of good games, Sheena. Which one? I know we've talked everyone's ear off here, and for the last 30 minutes or so, and so let's get out of here. But let's close it how we normally do. If there's a game you can go to this week, which game would you go to?
So I am having a tough time picking between McKinney versus Prosper and Mansfield versus DeSoto. So I'm just going to kind of quickly run down both of those games and then like decide after I run them down. Um, McKinney versus Prosper, both teams have been playing incredibly well. McKinney is on the same level that McKinney Boyd was last season. I don't know if you remember how much we were shocked and surprised and, kind of hoping to see McKinney Boyd continue to do well last season. That's kind of where we are with McKinney this season. Prosper, though, they're rolling through it. Harrison Rosar is being, the great quarterback that he is in this area. And they're coming off of a huge win over Allen. So the two are in postseason different brackets, essentially. So it's not going to matter who wins, really. It's just going to be a really exciting game to be at. And what's more fun than just being at an exciting game? Then you have Mansfield versus DeSoto. The winner of this game decides the seeding. It decides number 1 in Division 2, and the loser will be second seed. It's going to be a hard-fought game. Mansfield and DeSoto are both very good. We see DeSoto more often than we see Mansfield. So Mansfield wanting to get this one over DeSoto is going to be hugely impactful. But we're going to see a lot of strings be pulled on DeSoto's end, a lot of secrets up their sleeves. I guess if I had to pick, this is going to be the game that I would be at. Excitement is fun, and that's going to be McKinney versus Prosper. But seeing how the seeding plays out, I think, in my opinion, would be a little more interesting to be at.
Shana, how can you not say Beeville versus Pleasanton? It's our alma maters. That's the game to be at. How can you not say that? Like
Because
I'm
it's
really
been a rough 2 weeks for Beeville.
I'm really disappointed in your answer there. It's gotta be Beeville versus Pleasanton. Of course, I'll be at Poteet versus Hondo covering that game. Like I said, 2 seed on the line. So before we get out of here, Shana, who are you shouting out today?
Volleyball. They're in playoffs and they're doing really, really great. All the teams that are making it and getting this far, especially Hockaday Volleyball. They're an SPC school. They don't get a whole lot of love. They are reigning state champions, or I guess conference champions, since SPC covers more than just Texas. So big shout out to Hockaday. They're doing amazing. And then just volleyball in general. They've grinded this entire season, and watching them play their first playoff games has been exciting, and I'm glad that volleyball playoffs is back.
Yeah, and I'll shout out all the teams fighting for their lives this weekend, whether it's fighting for that last spot, fighting for a spot, whatever it may be. shout out to all those teams that are, grinding and trying to get that win this week. So that being said, that is our show for today. We'll be back tomorrow again after a long hiatus. We'll be back with VYPE Recruit Spotlight. Now that I've moved in, right? I had to move the one week, and then last week I had some internet issues, so finally back in the swing of things. So until then, I am Wac, and that's Shana, and we'll see you at the games.